Tab TV presents Taking Up Space, a discussion about wellness and the fitness industry. A conversation led by Rhonda Roberts-Smith, featuring Jen Shimmons. How do we make change? How do we move forward? Taking Up Space starts now. Hi, welcome to Tab TV. My name is Rhonda Roberts-Smith, and today we are going to talk about all things fitness. As things come back to normal post-COVID, people are starting to think about their exercise regime. They're thinking about their mental health, thinking about nutrition. So I thought I would bring to you my dear friend, Jen Shimmons, a health and fitness expert, as well as a lifestyle coach, to talk to us today about fitness. So, Miss Jen, welcome to Tab TV. So nice to have you with me. Do you remember how we met?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And it's so funny that the tables are turned now.
I know. You were interviewing me about breath.
I was.
Yes.
I was. And you were gracious enough to answer me on the spot with no preparation. And you were brilliant. And then for whatever reason, we just connected out of that.
Yeah.
But you know what I also liked about you was that you were one of the only people using an iPad at that time.
Are you trying to tell me I was high tech?
You were high tech back then.
Wow.
You were.
That's
you were.
a lot of my people be like, no, Rhonda's not very high tech.
Well, I'm here to confirm that you were high tech the whole time.
I was on my iPad.
You were
sitting by myself, trying to figure
yes.
all the stuff out. But so for me, it's like, what inspired you to want to be a fitness instructor first? And then how did that sort of morph into becoming a lifestyle coach?
Well, my fitness journey was very personal. I had always had a lot of chronic pain growing up. And as I was getting older, I just became more fed up, basically, and started exercising quite a bit and realized the power of it. I started to feel better. Along with chronic pain also comes a little bit of low-level depression, which I hadn't really realized, and exercise really helped with that as well. And wound up becoming a little bit of a gym rat and spending a lot of time, so much time that it just made sense to get into teaching, to marry that love of doing with doing it professionally. And I just met a lot of encouraging people on the way who kind of helped to nudge me along the path. Personally, that fitness is lifelong learning education, right? There's always so much going on that you have to keep up on skills. And I just came across coaching, wellness coaching specifically, and kept pursuing that. And it just really, besides instructing, you really want, you see the gains your clients make in one aspect, and you really see how it needs to be the whole package.
Right. I think wellness is many different aspects of our lives. It's not just going to happen with your physical body. If you are in situations where you are in a relationship that's unhappy, or you're in a job that is unhappy, or you've lost a parent or a friend, all of those things in your lives affect the wellness of your body and essentially your mind as well, and your spirit. So I think that for me, when I hear you say a wellness coach, it's kind of like combining all of that energy. Like, you are there for them physically, but then you are also trying to encourage them on their way to getting better spiritually, intellectually, how they're approaching their work or their nutrition choices. So that's what when I hear wellness, I'm thinking that whole complete like 3D package.
So phase 3 just happened, whatever, a month ago, less than a month ago.
Yes.
Gyms are now open. So I'm going to start that in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to see how it goes.
Yeah. How do you
Because
feel about that?
I'm a little freaked out.
Like, I'm going to be very honest. Gyms are not clean at the best of times.
Exactly.
I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
There's no amount of cleaning that can really, you can't be on top of everyone's sweat and hands and things.
For sure.
And I find that, when you go into that space, you're no longer in your little bubble. Your bubble is bursting all over the place. For instructors who are in rooms and they're asking people, some places are asking you to wear masks. I've heard some of the research, wearing a mask, how healthy is it when you are exerting yourself? I'm not sure, but I know personally that I tried to wear a mask and work out in my own home to see what it would feel like for somebody who, maybe pushing it a little bit. And I found for me that it was a little bit, it kind of made me feel closed in.
Right.
And even when I'm walking around now in stores that have required me to wear a mask and I'm wearing it for 45 minutes, I have to pull the part down over my nose and go and take a breath and then put it back on. I'm not sure if that's just my own personal thing, but I feel like when I'm working out, I need to have all of the holes that allow me to breathe, they need to be free. So I made the choice personally to stay on Zoom. And let me tell you, Zoom is work. Zoom is work. Right. And I think anybody who's training with, all my clients are going, what? Anybody who's training online with an instructor, just know that instructor does 10 times more than what they would normally do to give you the encouragement to get you to do it. So the imagery has to be that much bigger and that much more enthusiastic so that people feel you through the screen. And you are working in a smaller space and you're trying to encourage people to work in their little spaces. Oh yeah, Julie, I see that you've got your leg close to the couch. Put that foot on the couch. You can use that as a balance and you can bend the knee for trying to find all the different things in their houses that they can use, because you don't want your clients to give up on their fitness goals or even just give up on the idea of feeling well during this time.
Right.
So,
my advice to someone who's looking to make a lifestyle change, right? Because it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
For them to do a little bit of soul searching, you need to have the person, the client, really reflect on what it is they want and not just click on the first thing that they see. Because people generally know themselves. They just have to get in touch with that first. And then when they go on the search, they're going to trust their gut and they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's not really kind of for me. Like Beachbody's not for me. I don't want to, CrossFit's really not for me. Yeah. Because I look at the people in those ads and it's pretty indicative of what you're going to get. Yeah. And any person is going to know. And if they don't know, they're going to learn pretty quickly once they do a few classes or they talk to somebody online that that's not for them.
Well, one of the things that I often say to people who come to me is I ask them questions about themselves. And most of the time when people do search out a trainer, they often say, I need to lose 15 pounds, and they give you a time frame, and I have a wedding to go to. I immediately tell them, after having a conversation and knowing that that might be their goal, that I might not be their trainer, because that's not how I approach. I don't approach work that way. I think sometimes weight leaves your body when other issues in your life become easier or simpler. I'm not saying you don't have to do work, but some people aren't really prepared to do the work to get that body that they see on Beachbody.
Mhm.
And then also I say, you have to train for the body that you want. So if you want a lean or a longer body, and your facility actually will allow you to have that sort of lean and longer body, then there are different types of movement that you can do to hopefully get you there. If you want the lean, longer body, then you don't look at the CrossFit abs because that's
Yeah.
not going to get you there. Do you think that fitness has become super confusing for people? Because of what you're saying, people will go and look at the most hits. They say, oh, my friend watches so and so, and therefore that person becomes like the guru. When really, honestly, there's so many other people that are doing very similar things. They just don't happen to be a celebrity, or even understanding that with the weight of being a celebrity, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the answers. You don't have all the answers to how you're going to lose weight or become the person who you want to be
Right.
physically. I find that it can be exhausting as a consumer when you go online and you look at fitness. It's like, well, what do I do? Who do I do? Is that person going to get me to where I want to be? What do you know?
I know.
I find
I
it's
feel your pain. I feel your pain.
yeah,
I'm trying to put myself in the position of someone who's very new to
yeah,
fitness, and I could see how it would be very overwhelming. Um, it would be great if they had a trusted source that they could go to and ask. Like immediately, I think of your doctor, but
right,
that's only for people that are really have some kind of um, chronic illness,
yeah,
right? That would make sense. You go to your doctor, they give you someone to see who is vetted, right? But for Joe Blow, who just goes on the internet,
it's a little tougher
really, yeah,
because
how
what people see in their minds as being fit or well,
it,
um, it
yeah,
comes from a source of what the industry is feeding to you. So
right,
the visuals that you are given, the ideas that you are given about what being fit and what being well are, maybe some of those visuals are changing slightly, but that plays a lot into how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive our own bodies. So can we just talk a little bit, especially I'm going to talk just directly to my lovely ladies. Um, I find this is a huge problem that the fitness industry says they're trying to change, but essentially we don't change it. We still have an image of women looking a certain way as being the most attractive. And there are some bodies that just do not have the capability of becoming that without some sort of harm coming to them later. So yeah, you can get somebody down to a really small size if that was your goal, but they are probably going to be so sick and so miserable um, that it's not going to serve them in any other way than just kind of getting down for that one moment. And then we've all seen it happen. People just balloon and go right back to where they were before. So there has to be a balance. And I'm still looking for that, I think, in the industry, especially for younger girls. I feel like there is an idea out there of what the body should look like. I think we've sort of tried to move a little bit away from the thigh gap and the six pack abs, and we're sort of a little bit more intelligent when it comes to the fact that those particular features on some women are coming from genetics and not coming necessarily from weeks and weeks and weeks being in the gym. And we also now know about the problems that come from overdoing it
right.
in the gym. But what can we tell women right now? Because it's been a pretty stressful time. And some of us have, maybe due to a lack of opportunity or time or just having to run after your kids all day,
have put on a little bit of weight, and now that kids are going back to school, um, what would be some good advice to give to those ladies that are now, they don't have time to go to the gym because they're maybe working from home. So how can they find somebody to get them back on track?
Well, if they haven't, if this is they've never worked out before, they've never.
Or maybe they have, but you know, they're this kind of just doing what's trendy. They see their friend has gone to the CrossFit, and they,
Right.
or somebody's doing a Pilates class. You know, they're not sure about yoga. What would be a good way to sort of start to dip their feet back into a fitness program?
Well, I would say at the very least, they need to go outside and go for a walk. They
Yeah,
need to get moving because anything that they choose, if they don't have a lot of experience, they don't have a lot, they don't lean one way or the other,
right.
it's pretty demoralizing to go and try to do like any video you see on the internet and get through it. If you haven't exercised, you have no idea what you're doing, maybe you're not all that coordinated. So at the very least that you can do, because I'm all about just, it's about being healthy,
Yeah.
right? About the fitness trend, et cetera, et cetera. It's what can you do right now while you've got a little bit of spark of motivation to
Hmm.
get out there, because you and I both know as soon as you start to move, something good happens. Move around, do something, and then make it a habit. And then sooner or later, you're going to want to add on to that. Maybe you never will want to add on to that, but sooner or later, you will. You'll, it'll just snowball. You'll start to talk to people about what you're doing. They'll start to talk to you. Again, if you're just starting out, maybe you buddy up with somebody to keep you motivated.
Hmm.
But you have to make it a regular part of your routine. And
That's
think of it as self-care. I think a lot of this is shifting the mindset, right? It's like, oh, this is a chore. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta do a video. I gotta do this stuff. But if you change it and go, I'm doing this for me. I love me.
yes.
Um, and I know that even the smallest thing that I can do, if I can only walk around the block, that's all I have time for. It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. I was just going to add to what you were saying about that idea of healthy. What does that mean? Because some people think that healthy means we're going to have like the pipes, and you know, I've got to eat quinoa and kale, and make sure I'm gluten free and I'm a vegan. All of those things, a lot of those things are more lifestyle choices versus the general picture of what health looks like to you.
Right.
um, I think that that's probably one of the hardest things that I have to try to explain to people whom I'm working with in the beginning, because I think, and I know that this, a lot of fitness professionals will probably say the opposite to me. Results, results, results. I need to have a before and after shot. I need to know that what I'm doing is working. And some of the things, I actually took a course like that at the conference, and I was like, but some of
Oh,
the things that you are doing with somebody, the result that you see is the action. So like what you're saying, so you're not going to see yourself losing 15 pounds when you first start going for the walk, but what you see is a change in your attitude,
right.
which is a very positive thing for your health,
Mhm.
right? So as you're starting to walk, you're starting to put a routine into your daily schedule. And so that is all part of being healthy. No, you're not going to have six-pack abs after you do a 6 months of walking around the block. But what you do have is more energy than you did the day before. What you do maybe have is a clearer mind, because you're actually not sitting around wondering, oh, I should get started. You are starting something. So it is essentially changing how you feel about yourself and how you feel about the idea of putting some fitness into your life. that to me is a result, right? Because the mind shifting is much harder than the body shifting. And I feel like that's what we're missing. So when we're talking about health, I think it's important to also talk about your mental state, why you have allowed yourself to maybe go to that place of where you were not even thinking about self-care, because there's plenty reasons why that happens, myself included. I think that sometimes you just are doing so much for other people that you think you don't have the time for self-care, which will lead me to, again, why why has fitness become so complicated? Because these are very simple things that you're talking about. Taking a walk around the block, a walk around the block and make sure you walk up a hill. Take a walk around the block, go down the hill, go up the hill, go up some stairs. That's all progress. That's progression that you can still do the same progression in a gym, but now you're outside and you're smelling the air and you're maybe with a friend, which is great for the soul. So these are all simple things. I want to know why we can't have that more in our heads when it comes to fitness, because then fitness becomes less intimidating. Don't you think?
Oh, I agree. And the reason that we can't have it is because of the world that we live in, and the fact that we're bombarded, that we're on our screens more often than not, that we're bombarded by advertising that we don't even realize is going on, that there's so much choice, to your point. They've made it so complicated that most people will stop before they start.
Yeah. Should I run? Should I walk? Should I cross?
Exactly. Should I wear shoes? Should I not wear shoes?
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of common sense that's gone out the window.
Yeah.
But we're not to blame. Like, honestly, it's just life is more complicated. Technology is more complicated. And we do want what everybody else wants. So if everybody else is not preaching go for a walk, then that's not what we're going to think about.
Do you also think, though, that the industry itself is pushing because there is some money to be made here?
Oh, it's all about money.
Yeah. If I just told people the essential things you need to do to be in shape: push, pull, jump, throw, there's a couple, there's, lunge, like those are very simple things. Whether I have drumsticks while I'm doing it, or whether I have like water weights or a pole to wiggle, or any of the little wonderful things that make it more interesting, essentially there's very few things that a person needs to do to make sure that their body is balanced, because that's the other thing. When we start doing some of these other heavily weighted types of movement, then the balance in your body kind of begins to shift, and then that can cause pull you out of homeostasis as well. It can make you, so you can't go one way. You can't be all, new age lovey-dovey, and then you can't go all the other way where you're just hardcore, because your body needs to have that balance in the middle. That's why I love fusion so much. Like, I love to do little bits of everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but a lot of people don't, and a lot of people just want set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have a lot of clients like that too. Make me a program. I'm going to do the program. But that's where those people probably wouldn't stay motivated. And it's a lifestyle, but it's not necessarily a lifestyle that's making them happy, touching that mind, body, spirit, healthy well-being. Because if you're stressed about COVID and you're going to go back to the gym and think that's going to solve your problem, it's not.
No.
Right? Like, so.
I feel that, and I always say this to my clients that ask me, can you just make me a program? The thing is, I can tell you, you're going to do, 4 squats, and you're going to do, 10 push-ups, and you're going to do this. But the way that my energy works is I like to flow you from one thing to the other, where you don't even know that by the end of your squats, you're going to go walking out and doing a plank, or you're going to come up into a side plank. And when you come up out of that side plank, you're going to start to do some lunges, and it just flows. And because I feel like your body really needs to have, and this is my dancer side, rhythm. That
Right.
when you give somebody a boom, you're going to do your squats, come up, squat, come up. I find that for your brain, that it is the most boring thing. And also for your spirit, it's not motivating.
Right.
There's after you do that program for 3 weeks, there's no challenge. You know what's coming next. Okay, I'm going to walk over here and do my chest press. I think that's a very dated way of training your body, that there's just so much more that you can do. And I always say working out without thought is you're not working.
Exactly. So fitness brands and fitness trends that are flash in the pan,
Yeah.
they're just trying to get a lot of money all at once, and they don't care. So
how do you spot those? Because that's I think more of what I was thinking about talking about was those brand, like when I walk by and I see somebody who says, put these straps around your waist, turn on the button and let your body wiggle. Take all the fat off of your body. When I walk, and you know, Jen, when we go to the conference, we see all kinds of things being sold to people, and people are buying it. And there is no machine that can take place of your own work. You have to put in the work. There's no magic pill. There's no magic pill.
No, there is no magic pill, but it's the same. It's the same on the side of nutrition. There's no magic supplement, right? It's all buyer beware. And hopefully people don't get hurt. People
Can you
don't
say that again?
Sick.
Say that again about nutrition. Buyer beware.
For sure. Yes. Right?
Keto. What is keto?
Well, it started off to treat a real illness, right? Yeah. And has just been, what's a polite way to say this? Manipulated to sell product and money, and everybody jumps on it. Like everybody jumps on it. And
it makes me sad.
Oh, it makes me sad too.
Yeah.
But it is buyer beware. And that's the thing, like, how do you protect people? Well, there's more oversight over nutrition than there is over fitness.
Yeah, I think that people are looking for because our society is so quick with everything now, that the patience you have to do something over a period of time becomes very, you just don't have the patience. So if you hear that your friend decided to become a vegan and suddenly you see her and she's lost 20 pounds, you're like, well, shoot, I'm going to be a vegan. And that lifestyle, and that's the thing, that lifestyle choice may not necessarily be for you. And so you put your body through that. Now your body is confused because it's still sort of craving, that kind of protein. And then your systems start to react. And this is the kind of thing, this is why, and one of the reasons why I don't provide nutritional support in that way. I don't give you a diet plan, because I think that professionals who study the science of food and your body and the chemistry of your body are who should be informing people about how to eat. Yeah. That's just my own personal opinion. But I get very nervous when I see trainers designing meal plans and selling them online. And I'm like, you don't know enough about a person's background to be prescribing any of those things, in my humble opinion, because I know people are going to get up in arms about that. But
well, I agree, and I think there are regulations about that, at least as far as I know.
As a trainer, you're not legally allowed
exactly
kind of advice.
Exactly.
No.
But you can always get around that with specific wording that says, I'm going to provide this to you, but I'm really not supposed to provide it.
Right.
Right. Or you're there with your client and you can say, this is what I would do, but I'm not prescribing this for you. Like, so there's a lot of that goes on.
What do you think that your clients think that you eat?
Oh, I'm sure they think that I'm super, super healthy and super like restricted. And
That a chocolate bar never comes across your mouth.
exactly,
You know.
exactly. And it's like, no, I'm a normal person.
I preach that all the time. I
Yeah,
say it all the time. I said, I'm eating lemon meringue pie right now. You have
yeah,
no idea. Like, it's just like I have those food cravings too. But for me, I've always kind of followed that 80-20. It's like if 80% of the time I am eating, good whole foods, making my food from scratch, uh, you know, uh, not having so many processed things, then if I do decide to like make a funnel cake, which I have, because and actually I make pretty good funnel cake. Um, but
you can give me that recipe. I'll take that recipe.
yeah. And if I decide to do something like that, I'm not doing it every single day. I'm doing it for a special occasion or because I want to have a cool little dessert that's for my daughter. And it's much better because I know what I'm putting in it. I know the kind of things that I'm using. Do I use Taft and almond flour? Do I use all of those products? Not all the time. I think that there's lots of different things that you can do that will still give you the same love of food that you've had before. And I don't think you have to go keto or paleo or vegan or any of those big things that people are selling to you. The one thing I do notice a difference is when I eat less sugar, then the stuff around the center, around the belly button tends to go down a little bit.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and alcohol is a big one. So I don't
Yeah.
drink, so I don't have that issue. But I know that when people drop that wine, when you stop drinking that bottle of wine, that adds a lot of extra calories as well.
Sure. For sure. Ton of
What about
sugar.
you? What are some of your little secrets?
I'm a chocolate a day type person. And when all the studies came out that said, oh, dark chocolate's so good for you, I was like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I eat the bad chocolate. Like I'm the Snickers or something like that. That's what I don't eat that every day, but like
well, that's the thing, right? I don't eat that every day
yeah,
either, but I certainly don't restrict myself. And, my mom was a dietitian, so I grew up that way,
yeah,
thinking of just healthy foods, whole foods in general. Um, but because my mom's a dietitian, I also know that people really do struggle with with um, with their weight, with knowing how to eat, and it's the same problem when there's so much choice, and there's so many people saying paleo, vegan, whatever.
yes,
They're not going to professionals, but they're looking for a quick fix. To your point earlier, they don't have the
right.
patience to either look for it or wait for results, which we all know that results take time.
Take time.
So if you make a drastic change like that in your diet, you're probably going to see some kind of result fairly quickly.
Right.
Usually, like, not good symptoms,
No.
right? But you'll feel like something's happening.
Yes.
So they'll keep doing it and then they'll fall off and then they'll go off to the next thing. So it's the exact same thing when you're coaching your client. It's what's the real need here, and maybe you should see a professional, especially if like a naturopathic nutritionist even, like, because everybody is so individual. Who's to say vegan's not great for you? Your
Right.
body type likes it.
Your
Who's to
body
say
likes
paleo isn't for you? But to jump on a trend because everyone else is doing it doesn't work. But if you, again, do that reflection, do a little bit of self monitoring, right? Like, when I eat this, how does that make me feel? Probably bloated and all that stuff, but you just haven't noticed. So
yeah.
when you start to get in touch with yourself, then all of this extraneous stuff, it starts to strike, it starts to not, it starts to strike you as false because you've
And knowing your
a little
triggers.
bit of self-work.
Knowing your triggers, I think, is important too.
For sure.
Understanding that sometimes you eat things because of how you feel. So having a better relationship with food, and then in order to have a better relationship with food, sometimes you just need to talk to somebody about what else is going on in your own personal life. So seeking help from a mental health professional. I know
Mhm.
a lot of people don't talk about that, but if you're really stressed about something, or if something has impacted your life very negatively, then suddenly the behaviors that you have in and around food, that could possibly also be a trigger for how you're
Right.
eating and when you are eating, the habits during the day. um, you know, those are all things that matter when it comes to food. So let's keep talking a little bit more about nutrition, because this is the one thing that I think for people is the hardest thing to change as far as lifestyle and lifestyle choices. And I feel that people are constantly switching how they're eating. Do I eat this bread? Do I not eat bread? Do I drink red wine? Am I allowed to drink red wine? You know, this book says I can have sugar. This book says I can have agave. Like, what,
Right.
how can we help guide people and let them know it's okay if they don't subscribe to any of this? Um, I think that there's obviously some things that we have learned over the years that are beneficial. There's been lots of research about being a vegetarian or being a vegan, and suggesting that maybe having less meat over a week is healthier for you. Um, I just find that a lot of people go full on, like, boom,
Right.
gluten free,
Yeah.
getting rid of my dairy. Um, and like you were saying early, we're not listening to that feedback that our body is giving us. I found out I needed to kind of chill on the lactose
Right.
because my body gave me very clear signs that this is probably not the best thing for you. Does it mean that I don't eat creme brulee once in a while?
I have a friend who's lactose, and she just uses Lactaid.
I take one for the team. Sometimes there's just some things that I need to experience in their actual form, and there's no substitute that will provide that same satisfaction.
For sure.
For
For sure.
instance, um, cauliflower wings. To
Right.
me, that is not going to give me the same satisfaction as eating a real wing. You can put the barbecue sauce on the cauliflower. It's not the same for me. It's
I
not the same
agree.
for me. And so I find sometimes people will go or have a roundabout way of finally getting to what they really wanted. And then they end up eating everything else and the thing that they wanted.
Yes.
So,
Agreed. For sure. When they come to you, they're looking for, like you said, the result. They're looking for the easy plan. They're looking for all this stuff. They're not doing any thinking. They're like, I like how you look. Give me a plan so I can look like you. But you
right.
got to back it all up and go, who are you? What is it that you really want here? And within your potentiality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where can you go from there? And what's the smallest thing, just like going for a walk? What's the smallest thing that's going to start you on your journey? So education is key, and
Yes.
that happens through the relationship, right? As you work with them and you understand their deficit of knowledge, you can fill that in for
Yes.
them. Moderation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what did you say, the 80-20? You do the 80-20 thing?
I do 80-20, 70-30. I find weekends, as long as you can keep your cray in check,
Right.
and I mean keep the cray in check, because when you say, yeah, the weekend you do what you want, people can sometimes go way out on
For
to
sure.
the side, and then they go, the 80-20 doesn't work. But it really does, because I think that if you are being very mindful of how you are eating during the week, and I don't mean eating cardboard, and, everything has to be made a certain way, only beans or whatever. I mean, finding different types of recipes that still satisfy that feeling that you get when you have a good meal. I love to eat. I
Right.
love to eat. Life is be sad to me if all I was doing was just eating little pieces of lettuce and calling it a day. That's not satisfying at all. And then it adds to the stress that your body is experiencing. So
Exactly.
I think that you have to understand what the 20 is. The 20 is, you want a little piece of cake? Have that little piece of cake. Do you eat the cake? The whole entire cake? No. Do you eat
Right.
the whole pie? No. Do you have a piece of that pie? Sure. You're going to a wedding and everyone else is eating the cheese and drinking the wine and having the treats and things like that. Do you sit on your chair and completely just watch everyone eat that? How do you enjoy yourself? Like really enjoy
Right.
yourself if you're setting so many limits?
For
Well,
sure. I would never recommend giving up that aspect of your life. Um, it's really about, again, them knowing what's realistic for them and knowing that there are consequences to their actions. So if they want to do more of a 60-40, they're, what the consequences of that is, their results that they want to see are going to take a long time.
right.
So um, basically, you want your client to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
but that success is something that evolves, and it's not results, results, results.
Right. Can you say that again? It's not.
It's not results, results, results.
Yes.
It's about the journey. And what do you find out about yourself on that journey? Maybe I'm a 60-40 person. Maybe I'm a 90-10 person. Maybe I'm a 100% person.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different people that need different things from their life. But you've seen the journey of your clients. They come to you wanting one thing. And as you work with them and as they begin to learn what success, because they don't know what success can be, they
Yeah.
don't know the potential,
Right.
right? You see the potential, you know what the potential is of the human body. They don't necessarily know. But as they make those small gains of going up a hill, coming down the hill, doing an extra push up,
Right.
then they start to go, oh, I thought success was that for me, but maybe it's this. For
I
sure.
love, I'm going to use Oprah's term, that aha moment. I love when clients have the aha moment on their own, where they don't do any kind of physical work for a week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks. They haven't seen me, and then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I so missed this. My body so missed moving. And that to me is so much more valuable than
Right.
somebody saying, let's check out the roll, check out my abs, or, look at, like, I love to, and they say, oh, look at I have muscles. But they know that they have muscles not because they've been sitting on a bench press and pressing 150. They have muscles because they've been using their own body weight. They've
Yeah.
been holding their own bodies. They've been lifting up off of their hips. They've been making sure that their arms are supported from their back. They've been doing all these other things, which changes essentially their posture,
Yeah.
which then changes how they see their body. Do you find so many clients that come to you have more postural issues? And when they are aware of those postural issues, how they hold their abdomen, how their legs are positioned, how just everything just suddenly changes. And it's not that they've lost 5 pounds. It's just they become very body aware. They start noticing that they're not doing this, and they start noticing that, oh, when my shoulders are actually aligned over my hips, my waist actually looks smaller.
Exactly.
And when I'm standing like this, that creates a completely different look in your body. It's just becoming that body awareness. When my clients experience that, I love it. I get tingles, I get goosies.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
they get it. And when they get it, it's just that's even more special.
For
Getting
sure.
somebody to be aware of their posture and to be aware of how much their body loves to move more than not move, that is a result. So maybe it's just about changing the narrative about what a result looks like.
For sure. For sure. And I think to point out something that you just said, they hear your voice in their head. And that to me really speaks to the benefits of coaching and having someone, not just giving them a schedule and saying, go do this. There needs to be that personal relationship to the point where you get into their head, right? And you can't do that on a piece of paper.
You just gave me an aha moment right there about the value of what I bring to somebody else. That when people do say, well, can't you just write out a program? I think that when I say what I'm doing, I don't mean I personally, but what a trainer does, when you form that relationship, that is something a paper cannot give you. You form a relationship, and that relationship keeps you accountable. That relationship drives you forward. That relationship keeps you directed towards that goal that you have for yourself.
Definitely. Food and exercise is all about control.
Right.
Right? There's a deep
psych. Actually go to the other end of that spectrum. I've met people who are actually, still trying to improve their fitness, and they are working like hour in the gym and not seeing any result. And for what I usually say to them is, you are doing too much. There's too much going on there. Your body is stressed out. When your body is stressed out, it cannot adapt. It cannot change. And the other point that you made about when people come to you, they often say, well, what can I do to look like you? My response usually is, if you have about 50 years, then I can tell you what I did, right?
For sure.
Because what they're not understanding is accumulative choices over the period of my life has led my body to be the way that it is.
Exactly.
And so what you're saying is you want to get them to see that the choices that you are making now, all these new accumulative choices are going to start to move your body in a different direction. But it took you 30, 35, 40 years to get to here. So you need to give yourself the time to move. And it's not going to take you 40 years, but you need to give yourself time to get your body used to the fact that it's doing something else.
Okay, so how does exercise and
help with women's changes?
For sure. I'm an advocate for that, definitely. So as we age, the body definitely changes. Things wear out, the hormones change, etc. Again, I believe in a lot of tracking. So it's a lot for people. People don't like to track, but honestly, first of all, if they've got a good regime going already in terms of their exercise and their eating and monitoring their stress levels, then it's just a matter of really doing another deep dive on those aspects of your life. The things you may have done when you were 40 in terms of exercise may not be such a good idea for you at 50 or 60. People are inherently pretty stuck in inertia, not lazy per se, but they just get stuck in habits. So you need to develop new habits. I'm getting older. There's a history of these kind of illnesses in my family. I really got to start watching my salt, start watching my sugar. and you work with the systems that you have, you work with your priorities, and face it, as we get older, we get a little bit wiser.
I love to work with women because I feel that the um, reason for women in their like 40s and 50s and 60s for paying attention to their bodies, that self-care, has more to do with the things that you're talking about now. Watching the salt, making sure that you don't fall into a place of dis-ease because you have a family history. You are comfortable with who you are. That six pack isn't super important. You just want to feel better in your clothes. You want to feel like you can stand up straighter. I feel that I have a kinship with those women. Um, I feel that that's my purpose now. I'm not wearing a bikini on stage anymore. You know, I'd like to maybe rock one to the beach every once in a while, but I'm not doing that anymore. So that time of that need to have to work that hard has shifted and moved for me.
For sure.
And I appreciate when people understand that that ship is starting to sail, and they can just go, hello body, you know, okay, this is what I'm working with today. Okay,
Yes.
what can I do to make this feel better? All this feel better. And I love when people get to that point in their lives where they start to feel that the images that are thrust upon them, even now images that are you check out J-Lo, who's 50 and rocking it.
Yeah.
J-Lo has people, right?
Exactly.
People. And she may not talking about other things that are going on, but she's got people to help her do all of that. And much love to her. She looks fabulous, but that can't be your 50 goal. If your goal is not to do what she does for a living, which requires a lot of work,
Yeah.
and to keep that up requires a lot of work, then you've got to have a different view for yourself. And what advice would you give women who are now getting into I call it not the golden, well, yeah, let's call it the golden years, the better half of the life. What would you tell those women who are trying to, find their own path to wellness?
Well, first of all, I'd say you're awesome. And you've always been awesome, and you always will be awesome, no matter how you look. But it's about how you feel, right? So, and I think that for sure they would just be like,
Yeah.
that's not what it is, because I live in a society where we are perceived on our looks, and as women, we are definitely judged on our looks all the time.
Yeah.
So, what would I tell somebody? You're awesome and don't judge yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And just keep doing what you're doing for yourself. And again, that mindset of self-care, and I'm doing this for myself because the motivation is deeper than skin deep. And that's what keeps people committed to a healthy lifestyle, and not yo-yoing from fad to fad to fad.
Yes.
They found their deeper motivation of, I really need to work on my posture because I know that I'm prone to osteoarthritis or osteoporosis. Like that's the why of why I work out. Or I'm going to eat healthy because I know that high cholesterol runs in my family. Like,
it's that
why.
why.
It has to be deeper than skin deep. And I'm not saying it's not important, but if you do those things in your lifestyle, if you're walking, if you're exercising a little bit, you're eating healthy, you're not stressed out, you could be 5-10 pounds overweight, but you would feel good. People would perceive you as this healthy, glowing person.
Are there things that you see yourself telling your clients and then you can't even begin to tell yourself the same thing? Like you're giving something to your clients, which, you know, giving them advice on how to handle something or how to look at themselves. And, you know, and do you find that sometimes for your own self that you are having a hard time with those same
Oh,
issues?
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And there is a saying in coaching that a lot of times you'll come in contact with people that reflect the very thing that you need to be focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So I've had that happen a lot of times. And part of it is that we're all human and we all struggle with that type of thing. So it definitely happens. I try not to be a do as I say and not as I do type person. I do try to live it, but there are lots of things that I struggle with.
Oh, for sure. Can you tell me one thing? I know my big thing is, you know, I'm always telling people to just live where you are and to honor that, to know that change takes time. Um, and, you know, all the little things on your body that you might be not too happy with or upset about, um, that you have to find a way to embrace and love those things, so you look at them from a different viewpoint, and then as you're doing your work suddenly those things don't seem to matter anymore. Oh my goodness, for myself I have those same types of issues, right? Like
Sure.
I look at my tummy and I go, why is that like that now? It wasn't like that before. You know, as you go through the life, is your life is changing, you're going through the change of life, and
For sure.
body does shift, and things
Totally.
move and drop that you've never had drop and move before, right? And I'm to admit, I think one of the things that I can say that I appreciate about myself and that I share with my clients is that I'm brutally honest.
Right.
Like I am very honest about myself having those feelings, about those insecurities. And when they go, well, if you feel insecure about that, then how am I supposed to feel? And I'm like,
Right.
exactly like how you feel. I share because I think that it's so important to be upfront and honest and not put myself up on this God pedestal or godlike pedestal and suggest that I know the secret, because I don't.
Right.
I don't. I may have a little bit more knowledge than that person because it's what I study, it's what I love. I'm so interested in how the body moves and fascinated by muscle and bones, and but I don't have a magic pill, and I share that right away. I share there is no magic pill. When you hear this person's come up with a solution, that person's come up with a solution, I go, no solution is foolproof. There's somebody it does not work for, and they are maybe going to get maybe 30% of the people to follow and have some sort of result, and you're seeing that 30 or 20% that have had that result.
Yeah.
But other people have tried it and failed. So there, for you, I think completely about gut is the most important thing. Becoming aware of your daily habits really does help guide you along your process. And I always say, you are in charge of this. I'm your cheerleader. That's it. I'm your
Exactly.
cheerleader. I
Exactly.
can't make you eat better. I can't make you do the exercises when I'm not with you. Um, I'm just a cheerleader. So when you see things happening, that's all you. Don't thank
Yeah.
me. Like, I'm here, I'm with you, woo, woo, woo. But don't thank me. Thank yourself. Give yourself that
Okay.
self-love. Like, give yourself those feelings of approval, and feel proud about the work that you're doing, because that's something that you've created for yourself. And
Yeah.
I'm just here to witness and give praise.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
that's my job. And on that happy note, I thank you so much for spending all this time with me, Jen. It's been
Oh,
great to pick your brain and to have conversations that we normally have.
right.
We're on our own, but in this sort of format. And thank you so much for joining me on TAD TV. Have a great one, guys.